good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, March 12th. And we have some birthdays today because today is Adeline's 4th birthday. Adeline, you're 4. Oh, you're getting to be such a big girl. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Adeline. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. And it's also Eddie Garza, Garza, Eddie. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Eddie. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. Well, I hope you both have a great, great birthday. But we have an anniversary because today is Karen and Michael's 42nd anniversary. Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy, 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 happy anniversary, happy, 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 happy anniversary. Well, I hope you have a great, great anniversary today. The weather's starting to cool down. All the nice weather's kind of going away. I brought my coat with me because this morning we went to Kroger's we had to get some milk. I told you yesterday I was not going to pay. They wanted $5.69 for 1 gallon of milk. And at Kroger's it's $2.69. So I bought 2 gallons of milk for the price I would have paid for 1 gallon of milk there. But I also needed to get some orange juice and then some supplies for my guests that are coming this weekend. Some, extra bread and some extra lunch meat and stuff like that. So we went to Kroger's this morning and I had to put a coat on. It's like, I couldn't believe it. In a little while, when I get done talking to you, I'm going to go pick up Kylie. Well, Jim is going to go pick up Kylie with me because it's too far for me to drive. It's well past my comfort zone. But Kylie is going to a cookie cooking class, a cookie baking class or something, a part of her school. But it's like an after school activity type of thing. And usually Denise or Gary will bring her to the event. But Mary has her treatment downtown at the hospital. And so originally Denise and Gary were both going to bring her down there until Kylie's cookie thing came up. And so then Denise was just going to bring her. Well, then Denise has got whatever's going around because she is like sicker than a dog. So Kylie was a little disappointed that she wasn't going to be able to go. And so I was talking to Jim about it. And he says, we'll bring Kylie. He says, we'll bring Kylie. So Gary is going to bring Mary downtown for her appointment. And then probably where Kylie's going to be going for this class is probably about maybe 20, 25 minutes from Mary's apartment. So after Gary drops her off, he'll just go pick up Kylie because I think the class is from 4 to 6. And I think Mary's appointment downtown was at 3 o'clock. So he might have to sit and wait around or something. I don't know. But he's going to go pick her up. But she's all excited because she can go now. So I told her I'd call just before we left. And then, what else did I do? I called our insurance company because I saw that Wegovy came down in price. So I was calling to see if our copay came down in price because Jim was asking about it. I completely forgot about it. I remember seeing the commercial about it last week. But then Jim had mentioned it. And he said, maybe you can find out if they'll do it. So I called there. I was on hold forever. You know how you call, you get the automated system, push 1, push 2, blah, blah, blah. And so I did all of that. And then I got somebody, a very nice lady, and she tried to help me, but she says, well, that's part of the prescription coverage, not the medical coverage, so I got to transfer you over. So I was on hold with them for another 5 minutes. And so then I finally got clicked over to them, and then they couldn't tell me because the prescription was so old, and they said the doctor has to reissue a new one. So they couldn't tell me how much our copay would be at that point. So I said, okay. So that was like half an hour wasted, type of thing. So then I thought, well, I'll call the doctor's office. So then I called the doctor's office. I was on hold for like 7 minutes. And I thought, I'll call it another time. So I just hung up on that. And then Jim's eye doctor that he goes to no longer takes our insurance. And so we have to find a new insurance carrier, a new eye ophthalmologist. And I go to an ophthalmologist, but Jim didn't really like the ophthalmologist that I go to. Because Jim originally went to them, didn't like them, and then that's when he switched over to the other one. So I said, well, let me look for some. He said, no, I'll just go back to the other guy. So then I had to call there, and then they had to look them up in the files because it'd been so long. So it was another half hour, 45 minutes getting that all straightened around. So we did get him an appointment, which I was very surprised. We got it on the 27th of March, which I thought was pretty quick, considering. I got to take this. I'll be right back. Oh, well. changes the plans for this afternoon. Kylie came home from school sick. So Denise is telling her she can't go. And obviously she's disappointed, but you know, she can't go and infect everybody. So Kylie is cognitively and emotionally impaired. And she doesn't handle things well sometimes. But you know what? She's the sweetest young woman now, because she's, how old is she now? 22. She's 22. Oh my gosh. Or she's 21. No, she's 21. She's 21 because I remember at the Christmas party she wanted to drink so bad. And so we were trying to discourage her from wanting to drink, you know, because of her medications that she takes. So somebody found the driest, like a wine that you don't start off with. Not a sweet wine, but like, I don't know anything about wine, but whatever kind of wine it was, she didn't like it. So she didn't find a drink that she liked, which was good. But you know, you can't tell her. I mean, some things she knows, like at her age, she should be able to do, but then emotionally she's not capable of doing it. But like I said, you won't find a sweeter young lady than Kylie. She's so sweet. But I feel bad that she can't go, but I wasn't looking forward to that. It was like 40 minutes from the house here. I wasn't looking forward to that. But, you know, for Kylie, I would have done it. I really would have done it. So, changing my plans for the afternoon. So I started to watch Edie over at Edie's Adventures yesterday. And I must have, sometimes, you know, when I'm watching things, I kind of nod off and I don't realize I nodded off. And then I wake up and then I don't realize that I nodded off. And then I'm thinking, what's going on? But when you're watching a YouTube video, they could have just jumped to another subject and you don't know. And so she was explaining her eating habits. And I know that at the beginning of it, she said, you know, today's Tuesday, I'm getting my weight loss, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you how I did. But first I want to tell you I did pretty well. And then she started describing it. And then that's must have been when I nodded off. And then she was still continuing on before she went into the grocery store. And I thought, did I miss it? Did she not say it? So I watched up to that point and I left a comment. And then I noticed in the comments someone said, congratulations for your loss. I didn't know she lost. Anyway, congratulations, Edie, for your loss. But I only watched maybe half of it because then we went out to eat. And we got to the restaurant and Christy hadn't done a call ahead. So, and we were there before Christy and Aaron and Sophia and her father-in-law, Lenny. And so I had gone up to the booth and they said no. And I said, well, we need a table for 6, but not a booth. And this particular restaurant is mostly booths and very few tables. I said, we really would prefer a table. And she says, well, all we really have are high top tables. I hate a high top table. I have very long legs. But my legs kind of dangle, and I don't like to always just have them sitting on the little bar on the stool. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's just not comfortable. And so then she brings us to this table, and there's not even backs. They're just stools. They're not even backs. And I'm like, oh. And I'm looking around, and there's everything. It's full. It's like it's a full. I'm surprised. You know, everybody says they're so worried about a recession, so we're not going to spend money. That place was packed on a Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. I was amazed how packed it was. The food is very good. The atmosphere is really nice. The service is excellent. So that's why it's so packed. It's like, you know, your food is always hot when you get it. It's always good. So, you know, that's why it has a good reputation. So I was sitting there and then our server came over, Mason. And so I ordered appetizers for the table. And so I got a sampler and some garlic knots. And then Jim and I got a Coke. And so then he left to put our order in. And then Christy texted me and she said, if you get there before us, make sure you don't get a high top because Lenny can't sit him. No, I've completely forgot. Lenny's handicapped. He's on a cane. He can hardly, you know, he walks very slowly. And I thought, oh, shoot, I forgot about that. So then I look over to the other side of the restaurant. Looks like it's still in Mason's section and they're clearing off a table. And just then Mason comes back with their drinks. And so I said to Mason, you know, I just found out that somebody that's joining our party is handicapped and he can't sit in a high top chair. Could I sit in that table over there in the corner that they're clearing? And he looked over there and he said, yeah, you can sit over there. And I says, that's still your section, right? And he says, no, unfortunately, that's not my section, but I'll still make sure you get your stuff and I'll move your drinks over there. And so I said, well, before we move over there, are you allowed to close out my tab so I can pay the tab and at least give you a tip? And he says, you'd really do that? And I go, well, you're the one that served me and you're the one that took my order. Yeah, I'd really do that. He says, well, that's really nice of you. He says, I can't believe you're going to do that. He says, most people would have just switched tables. And I go, you already put my order, I'm still going to get my appetizers, right? And he says, oh, no, I already put the order in and I'll make sure that you get them. And he says, that's Heather's section. I'll make sure Heather brings them to you. And so I said, okay. So then he rang up the bill and he gave it to me and I gave him his tip. I tip 25%. I know it's probably only 20, but I just think they're always young people. And I always remember when I was young and struggling, and I thought, as long as I have the money and they're giving me good service, I'll give you 25. If you're exceptional, I'll give you 30. I mean, it's just, I just feel that, I would rather tip the servers than have them increase the prices so that they get a regular wage. Because anybody I've known that's a server said they would prefer the tips over a regular wage, because they sometimes they don't make as much money. They do admit that. But they said in the long run they make more money by getting tips than, and then, really, I'm not calling them dishonest in that, but I can't think that they claim all of their tips. which I don't blame them. I mean, they make such a small amount of money, minuscule, that's the word, such a minuscule amount of money that they just deserve it. So I gave them 25% just on appetizers and drinks. And he must have said something to Heather, because my gosh, Heather was right there. She got our and the apps came just as Christy and them got there. So it worked out perfectly, because just as they sat down, they took her drink orders. She says, well, your appetizers are ready. Let me go get that before I get your drinks. And so she brought the apps out, and we had, had our apps and stuff while we were waiting. And so I had 2 cheese sticks, but they're not really like a whole cheese stick. They're different because I forget what they're called. They're kind of like a squiggly, like they don't take a whole cheese stick. They kind of make it a swirl, like a cheese swirl or something like that. I had 2 of those, and I had 1 garlic knot. And it was delicious. It was really delicious. And so then when we came to order, I had the California chicken, which I told you yesterday was a grilled piece of chicken with pico sauce on top of it, with sliced avocado on top of that, and it's layered over a bed of rice pilaf. And then I had a side salad with some honey mustard on the side, where I dip my fork into. And I did have 1 Coke. And I pride myself on the fact that when I was like half full of Coke and she came to the table and she said, would you like a refill? I always say yes. Always say yes. I said, no, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm good with this. And I'd finished the Coke that I had, and then the water. And then we had a really good time. Christy got embarrassed because her father told the server that it was her birthday. So when the manager came over and he says, oh, I hear it's your birthday. And Christy said, he says, well, you don't want a song? And she said, no. He's, well, I'm going to at least bring you the cookie and the sundae, because they have a cookie and they put ice cream and a whipped cream on top of it. So they gave her that. And so she had that. And then we went back to Christy's house and we sang happy birthday, and we had a slice of cake. And then we came home and we watched Deal or No Deal Island, and I was annoyed at Philip, because I thought, Philip, you are an idiot. I mean, these are not your friends. These are people that are trying to win the money just as much as you are. And when you go back and see what a fool they made of you, how they talked about you behind your back, about how gullible you were, and blah, 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 and that you made such the stupidest mistake ever, and you believed when he said you were safe. I'm sorry, I ruined it for you. Philip went home. So I was so annoyed. And then when he was really thinking about his game, he should have sent Poverty home. Now, I don't like Poverty. I'll preface by saying I don't like Poverty, but it would have been the smarter move, because I think if the way the game is playing, if he would have taken out her, I really think her and Letty are his biggest challengers. Now, that would have still left Letty in the game, but maybe not. So if one of the other 2 would have played, they would have taken Letty out, and then he would have been easy, and he could have skated to the end. But no, I know I'm talking about shows that you guys don't watch. And then also, if I was David's wife, I'd be so pissed, because Poverty hangs all over him. Jim keeps saying it's just a game and she's just doing it. Oh no, that woman definitely has a crush on David. And David is like a typical man, eating it all up, and I really don't think he's seeing, I think he's just seeing it as something like part of the game. And I, as a woman, am not seeing it the same way. If anybody's watching Deal or No Deal Island, let me know. I know David's married and he has kids, but I know Poverty is divorced. So that, not that there's anything wrong with being divorced. Everyone in my family, it seems, is divorced. So she's a wily woman. And I don't like Poverty. I'll tell you that right from the beginning. I don't, so maybe I'm prejudiced in that regard, but, So I didn't. So we watched that. We watched Will Trent. What else? We watched Doc. I forgot Alert was starting back up because we do like Alert. The cleaning lady, I can't believe they're bringing that one back. That one was just stupid. We did watch a whole season of it, so I kept thinking it would get better, but it didn't. But I'm going to watch that on Hulu. And then what else? And I still got to watch today the Rookie and the Irrational. I'll be able to watch those this afternoon since I don't have to go bring Kylie. There you go. A win-win. A win-loss because Kylie won't be able to go. So it's a win-loss, I guess. But, yeah. So tonight, what's that? Survivor and Amazing Race are on. I can tell you right now, because hopefully you've watched last week's Amazing Race. Jonathan is like the biggest loser ever. I feel bad for his wife. I don't even know her name because he made more of an impression. They started off in first place and they were running along first place. And it's like, do you ever watch Amazing Race? Because at some point they're going to have all the teams come together so somebody doesn't have a runaway victory. And so he was pissed when everybody caught up with him. And then when he came to the mat second place, he was downright ridiculously a poor sport. He really was. He wasn't satisfied he came in second. Out of 14 teams, I'm thinking that's pretty good. Was it 14 or 16? Oh, it was 16 teams because they eliminated 2. So you come in second with 16 teams, and then you're going to be pissy about it. It's just that annoyed me. So he's on my list. S-A-I on Survivor. Out. I need her gone. So we're going to watch that when Jim gets back from his archery. Today's his last archery one, tonight. So... And then tomorrow or Friday morning, my cousin Paul and Kathy will be here. So that's why we went and we bought some extra bread and some snacks and things like that. But I'm doing pretty good staying away from the snacking. Like I said last night, I only ate half of the chicken and half of the rice. So I was going to have it for my dinner tonight. But then when we were at Nino's yesterday, I bought some chicken salad. And I don't like to keep that in the refrigerator too long. So I think I'm just going to have some chicken salad sandwich. And then when my avocados that I bought yesterday, somehow I had bought one that it was a little riper, which I knew it was riper because I was going to have it for my dinner today. And because I thought even with the leftover chicken, you can never have too much avocado. I mean, I know it's fattening and all, but it's a good protein, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But Weight Watcher says you can eat anything within reason. You can have cake and cookies too, as long as you don't go crazy with them. So, but anyway, I must have put something on top of it and it kind of smashed it and it kind of opened already. And so when I got to the register, I was telling the cashier, I said, well, be careful with this one because I don't want you to squish it all over your hand. And so she went to put it on the counter to throw it away. And I go, oh, no, I'm going to buy it. And she says, well, no, it's, I said, I'm the one that did it. I said, but I'm going to eat it for lunch. I was going to eat it yesterday for my lunch, but then I forgot we were going out to dinner. I said, I'm just going to eat it when we get home, so it's not a big deal. She says, you sure? And I go, yeah, I'm sure. So she put it in a little bag. And then I forgot to eat it for lunch yesterday. So I'm going to have that with my dinner tonight. I'll have that with the sandwich. And then I'm going to have a little side salad with it. So I'll have the sandwich, a side salad, and some iced tea. And then a lot of you thought that the $100 for fruits and vegetables and lunch meat was not a lot of money. I thought it was a lot. I'll tell you, I bought 3 avocados. I bought 5 oranges, 5 grapefruits, 5 apples, 1 thing of strawberries, 2 little pints of raspberries, 1 pint of blackberries, 1 head of lettuce, that little kit of lettuce, like a salad. That's, like all the mixed greens and stuff like that. And a loaf of bread. And then I got a half a pound of ham, a quarter pound of the chicken salad, and Jim got a half a pound of pastrami and a half a pound of bologna. And that's all we got. That, I think, is a lot of money for $100 and some. I thought there was a lot of money to spend for the little bit of stuff I got for over $100. I personally thought that was a lot. But then we went to Kroger's today, and I think I spent just as much. Oh, that's my list to make sure I didn't forget anything that was on the list. Pretty good. I forgot I had the list. But I spent at Kroger's $148. So, and I did get a lot at Kroger's though. I did give some higher price thing. I got some pop for my guests. And then I got a big gallon of orange juice because orange juice is high in price too. And I got some lemonade, which I don't normally buy, but I bought some lemonade. And then Jim likes to make these breakfast sandwiches. So I bought the sandwich spread, the things. And then we take a low-dose aspirin. So, I mean, we had some expensive stuff, I know, but I'm trying, you know, they keep saying that now there's a 50% chance there's going to be a recession. So I'm thinking, I'm trying to, this will last me though. This will probably last me. I probably won't have to shop for anything but probably milk. Because my cousin Lynn is bringing some eggs for me from Canada. So I'll have the eggs. Yeah. And the milk should last me another week or two. I might have to buy some milk and maybe a loaf of bread. Because I do have enough, I was looking in the freezer, I do have enough meat still. So if I end up spending $250 for the whole month, that's not too bad. When I was doing my pantry challenge, I was spending, what, 160. So I'm a little bit over. But anywhooser. Yeah, that's going to do it. I know, blah, 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 Sandy. Go on and on and on and on. So, yeah. Got nothing else to say. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll tell you that. Keep up with the emojis. You really... Somebody had told me that I can download the emojis. I'm going to look into that. I'm really going to... That's interesting. And then I got to start watching Australian Traders because Roy over at Recipes with Roy said that one was pretty good. So I'm going to watch that. I know I watch entirely too much TV. I want to find this book. I'm going to look at the library that Mary Fran was... the only thing is when I looked on the thing, they only had large print. I don't like large print, so I'm going to try to find it. I might buy it because I have some gift cards from Christmas for, not Dalton's, Borders, a bookstore that's around here. But I think I knew my murderer, or was that my murderer? Something murder. I'm just going to go back on Mary Fran's thing to look at it, but that sounded very interesting. She's reading, I'm going to pass her in the summer, let me tell you, or if she gets a job. She got laid off, which is sad, but I am, when I'm sitting outside, I was telling Kat over at Kat Every Day, and she also another channel, Sweetwater Place. I was telling her that when I can sit outside and hear the music, hear my neighbors, hear even the lawn cutting and stuff, just to hear the activity of my neighborhood, just puts me in a good frame of mind, and I like to read. Sitting in the chair in here, it's just kind of boring. But so leave me an emoji. Okay, we'll talk to you tomorrow.